If you're asking me whether I'm expecting anything from the royal family, as I said, I'm not expecting anything. I'm just going to carry on with my work.
It is one thing to be born of royalty. It is another to be acknowledged as one. Many people would love to be called princes and princesses with all the privileges attached. But what happens when you get rejected by your father, the one person who could ensure you get all the titles and benefits befitting of a princess or prince? What would you do then? This is the story of Delphine, the illegitimate daughter of Belgium's king. Why was she considered illegitimate? What battle did she have to fight to get her due title? You will find out all you need to know in this video. All you have to do is watch to the end. Delphine Boël's birth and early life. Delphine Boël was born in 1968 due to a secret affair between King Albert II of Belgium, a prince at the time, and Belgian aristocrat Baroness Sibylle de Sellis-Longchamp. Even though it was a clandestine affair, their relationship was solid for 18 years. All and sundry would have celebrated Delphine's birth in a different world or better circumstances. Still, it was kept under wraps, with only a few close family members aware of her existence. Nobody deserves this, but we can't always choose our parents. Growing up, she was raised mainly by her mother, who continued with her life separate from Belgium's royal spotlight. From her mother's account, the then Prince Albert wanted to elope with her even though he was already married to Princess Paula. But knowing the consequences of the action if carried out, Baroness Sibylle discouraged him and told him to stick with his wife, Paula. This came to light when some people were trying to trivialize their relationship. Delphine attended several prestigious schools in Belgium. Is this surprising to you? Well, it shouldn't be. This is because Baroness Sibylle had money and a sizable estate. Moreover, she didn't marry down. Her husband at the time was a well-to-do businessman. Her mother ensured she received an excellent education by attending boarding schools in England and Switzerland before studying at London's Chelsea School of Art and Design. There, she earned a Bachelor of Arts with honors in Fine Arts in 1990. Her career as an artist has included teaching engagements as a guest lecturer at institutions such as the Higher Institute for Fine Arts in Antwerp and the Maastricht Art School. In addition to her artistic pursuits, Delphine is the founding patron of the Princess Delphine of Saxe-Coburg Fund. It's an initiative at Ghent University Hospital that promotes integrating art into healthcare to enhance patient well-being. She also designs the label artwork for the Belgian brewery Struise's Cuvée Delphine beer. Her sculpture, Ageless Love, is prominently displayed in Goethe Park in St. Nicholas. In 2021, she further expanded her creative portfolio by designing the exterior of the Lamborghini art car to show how unique her style is on a high-profile platform. With this portfolio and exposure, one would think she had a perfect life, but the reverse was the case. Imagine being the daughter of a king and not having access to see or talk to him. According to the New York Times, Delphine was informed of her lineage at a young age, but she knew that her royal ties were unofficial and unacknowledged by Albert himself. She said, "My mother disclosed who my father was at 18 in a coffee shop." It would suffice to say she had been living her life until that time, believing that her stepfather was her biological father. This understanding led to a confused and sometimes difficult identity for Delphine, as she knew she was part of Belgium's royal lineage. Not only that, she had to live knowing that she might not receive the formal acknowledgement that her half-siblings received. Her mother, Sibylle de Sellis-Longchamp, tried her best to boost Delphine's sense of self by openly discussing Albert's role as her biological father and explaining the circumstances surrounding her birth. In interviews and her memoirs, Delphine has described feeling a sense of isolation due to her status. According to BBC News, she often felt caught between two worlds: the regular life her mother tried to provide and the royal bloodline she inherited through Albert. Delphine's mother wanted her to have a normal upbringing, free from the pressures of royalty, but knowing her father's identity made it difficult. Delphine later spoke about how learning about her royal background affected her. She even shared in her memoir that the truth helped her develop a strong self-worth, despite lacking formal recognition. Over time, Delphine's awareness of her royal ties grew, eventually allowing her to seek legal acknowledgement from Albert. This journey would test her patience and sanity in different ways many years later. Before we go further, what was the king's background like? Let us find out. Background of King Albert II of Belgium. King Albert II of Belgium was born in 1934. He served as Belgium's king for 20 good years, from 1993 until his abdication in 2013. As the younger son of King Leopold III, Albert was tasked with a lesser public role, while his older brother Baudouin ruled as king until Baudouin's death in 1993. Naturally, Baudouin's children would have succeeded him as king, but he had no children, which was the short end of his bloodline. Consequently, Albert took the throne, working hard to uphold Belgium's stability through political and social challenges. This earned him a reputation as a devoted leader. He has often spoken about national unity, particularly in a country known for its regional and linguistic divisions. According to The Guardian, Albert was seen as a stabilizing figure for Belgium's monarchy when the nation faced a rough patch. In 1959, Albert married Queen Paola, an Italian noblewoman, and the two were often proclaimed as one of Europe's most glamorous royal couples. However, like many long-term relationships, their marriage faced its share of challenges. This was because rumors of marital issues trailed the king for a long time. Vanity Fair noted that, despite outward appearances, the marriage was not all romantic dinners and rose flowers. It had many periods of separation and personal struggle. In all of this, however, the couple had 3 children, including Philippe, now the King of Belgium. Truly, King Albert was known to be a ladies' man, given his wealth and position. However, what brought his matter to the headlines of many national and international media houses and magazines was his affair with Belgian Baroness Sibylle de Celis-Longchamps in the 1960s. It wasn't a fling like many people like to believe. It was a relationship that spanned over 18 years and eventually led to the birth of Delphine Boël. Delphine's identity as Albert's daughter was kept a secret from the public for many years. As BBC News reports, Delphine's mother, Sibylle, ultimately revealed the relationship, but for years, Albert denied the claim, even as speculation rose to the roof. Pursuit of recognition and Delphine's fight for the truth. First, how do you begin looking for a father who never wanted you? A sitting king, for that matter. One could even argue why Delphine Boël needed to subject herself to such torture. After all, her mother and stepfather provided her with a life of luxury. Well, for one, we have different needs. And for Delphine, it was to get her rightful recognition at that time of her life. Her quest to be officially recognized as the daughter of King Albert II of Belgium was long and challenging. Not only was it taxing, but it went on for nearly a decade. It must not have been easy to keep going to court, spending your money, and have your case flung in your face. Initially, she started with private attempts to gain acknowledgement from Albert, but nothing could make him yield to accepting her publicly. It was not clear why Albert did this, especially when Delphine was not a product of a short-time fling with a random woman. We are talking about a woman he had an affair with for 18 good years. Anyway, people had their speculations. Some people believed he was aloof because he had other children, while another set of speculators believed he didn't want to hurt his wife, Paola. Hence, the reason he kept his distance. These initial private appeals to the king were met with silence and rejection, leaving Delphine with no choice but to seek legal action to secure her identity. According to The Guardian, she pursued official recognition after King Albert's abdication in 2013. This was well after it had dawned on her that he would not voluntarily recognize her as his child. The legal proceedings were arduous, with multiple hearings and heavy pushback from the Belgian monarchy. The public watched closely, with many taking sides on the issue. As could be expected in such a case, some felt sympathetic to Delphine's plight, while others questioned the need for her to pursue such a public battle. They threw at her unwarranted questions that sometimes made her consider ditching the pursuit together. In Belgium, the monarchy's stance on the matter became a point of contention, with some wondering if Delphine's case would tarnish the royal family's reputation. Delphine's pursuit of justice gained momentum as the court required King Albert to submit to a DNA test. Initially, he resisted, which led to widespread media coverage and increased public interest. This resistance worsened the case as people did not stop giving different hot takes in Delphine's favor, as her father refused to acknowledge her. Finally, in 2019, 6 years after she reopened the case and a rather lengthy legal standoff, the Belgian court mandated that King Albert submit to the test. In January 2020, the DNA results confirmed what Delphine had always known. King Albert II was her biological father. Getting to know her father and family. Princess Delphine of Belgium talked about the painful experience that her first meeting with her father turned out to be. One can only imagine how terrible she must have felt to have the phone slammed in her ears many times. In a television documentary, she revealed that Albert, who formally recognized her as his daughter only in October 2020, accused her of seeking attention. During their initial meeting in 2013, Delphine dismissively remarked, because it's not going so well as an artist, you need some attention." This comment left her broken and crushed, and she left the meeting in tears, feeling deeply hurt by the accusation. Delphine's road to acknowledgement was a legally challenging one. However, it took 7 long years for Delphine's case to end, with the court finally recognizing her as Albert's legitimate child and bestowing upon her the title of Princess Delphine of Saxe-Coburg. Delphine explained that her decision to pursue legal recognition came from a desire for personal validation. She felt compelled to prove her lineage after Albert publicly denied their connection. "I had to know for sure," she said. At first, Albert was close to Baron Sibylle and her daughter. However, when news began to make rounds that he was stepping outside his marital home, he decided to distance himself in 1984 to safeguard his marriage to Queen Paola, whom he married in 1959. The news was beginning to cause emotional distress, and some inside sources even confirmed that their marriage was heading for the rocks, so Albert had to do something. Delphine said she felt joy and apprehension the first time she got to know. As young as she was, she realized the truth would inevitably lead to scandal. Baroness Sibylle de Celis-Longchamp, now 83 years old, began an affair with then Crown Prince Albert of Belgium in 1966 and explained that contrary to public opinion, her attraction was not due to his royal status. She said, "It was not about who he was because I didn't care that he was a prince." Furthermore, she said that the relationship was meaningful on a personal level. She recounted in almost a regretful tone how Delphine's paternity became a public issue with untrue rumors circulating widely by the late 1990s and intensifying by 2001. She said the unending calls from media houses prompted Albert to break off all contact with her. Thinking about it again, Delphine said, "I called him daddy because I was instructed to, but I never felt that way." As Delphine grew older, many ugly issues began to rear their heads due to her unrecognized status as Albert's daughter. For example, banks labeled her a high financial risk. They restricted her access to services for herself and her children, Josephine, born in 2003, and Oscar, born in 2008, with her partner, American businessman Jim O'Hare. She found it difficult to open bank accounts for her children and noticed that Oscar had been flagged as a politically exposed person, PEEP, on a blacklist. This fueled her decision to pursue formal recognition from Albert. After all, she had nothing to lose. The public had pushed her to the wall. At first, when she started the quest to get her father to recognize her, it was so difficult that she contemplated giving up. Being a king comes with immunity. This means King Albert couldn't be prosecuted or be brought to court to answer for any issue, including paternity case. This crippled her progress for some time, and it was a harrowing experience for her. In 2013, Albert abdicated his throne for his son, and that was the opportunity Delphine had been waiting for. She took the matter to court again, and this time, Albert was forced to submit a sample for which a DNA test could be conducted.
I've tried because I wanted to know, since at school little children are already saying, "Oh, you know, your father is king." And she's come out back home and saying, "Papa is king." I said, "No, not quite, not really, no."
Finally, after a protracted court case, Delphine won her case in 2020. From then on, she gained the title of Princess Delphine of Saxe-Coburg, along with official royal status for her children. In October 2020, Delphine and Albert reunited at the royal residence of Belvedere Castle in Laeken, where they reconciled in what was described as a meeting of forgiveness, healing, and reconciliation. Delphine has since stated that her relationship with Albert and the royal family is now positive and of mutual respect. Of course, there are things she decides not to disclose because their relationship is still relatively new, and divulging some things prematurely could bring unnecessary complications. However, she seems to be on good terms with the royal household. In a statement she granted, she said, "I get on well with the royal family and I like them. They have been hospitable, she shared, while referring to the new phase as a chapter of acceptance and healing. Princess Delphine also spoke about her emotional reconciliation with her father, former King Albert II, and stepmother Queen Paola, during a visit to Belvedere Castle in Laeken in October 2020. She shared that their meeting was filled with understanding, stating, "Each of us, in serenity and empathy, managed to express our feelings and experiences." This encounter was a turning point for the family as they moved toward what can be called a new dispensation. 2 years ago, in October 2022, Delphine met her half-brother, King Philippe, for the first time at the Castle of Laeken. She said the meeting was warm, and they both wanted to build a meaningful relationship and explore their shared interests, which siblings are meant to do. Come to think of it, both of them have much to catch up on. They may have had a deeper sibling relationship if they had met earlier. In his submission, Philippe also said they had a lengthy conversation. Guess what? He described the moment as special. From all indications, it would seem their parents have robbed them of valuable time. On the bright side, however, it's never too late to start anything, including developing their sibling bond. Many people may think Delphine was hell-bent on being recognized to have a slice of the royal cake, but she clarified that her battle for recognition was not about wealth or status. She clarified that her mother's husband, Jacques Boël, is wealthier than the royal family. Seeking her paternal parentage was mostly about affirming her identity. She even decided not to use the Her Royal Highness prefix because she wanted to be the same as her brother and sister. Following her legal victory, Delphine told Matin Premier of Daily Mail, "I feel like I have a right to exist as me." Princess Delphine shared that she no longer expects anything from her royal family and regrets that her story couldn't be resolved privately. In an interview she granted, she said, "I tried for years to settle things quietly, behind closed doors, but was treated as an outcast, which ultimately led me to seek legal recognition." Regarding her father, King Albert II, she said she needs time and space to heal before considering her next step. Delphine's legal fight is also meant to support other children born out of wedlock, saying, "I hope that society won't single out children who had no choice in being born." She also mentioned that for what it's worth, she regretted that the matter had to become public knowledge, especially when those against the Belgian monarchy approached her, and the story surfaced in 1999. At a time when her half-brother Philippe was preparing to take on more royal duties, the opposition, who didn't want it, seized that opportunity to spread smear campaigns against the royal family. They told her that her existence was not a secret, so they tried to use the information to challenge the monarchy. Delphine's lawyer, Mark Wietendale, also had something to say. He said even with the princess's victory at court, she continues to receive hurtful messages about her birth, and that it's disappointing that society still stigmatizes children born out of wedlock. Wietendale clarified that Delphine has no plans to stop working and won't receive a royal allowance as she doesn't represent Belgium officially. Delphine explained that her Royal Highness title was requested to ensure equality with her royal siblings. Official recognition as a princess. After decades of denial and emotionally draining court appearances, Delphine Boël was officially recognized as a Princess of Belgium. Of course, this comes with benefits she had long been denied. The court ruling granted her the title Princess of Belgium and the legal right to adopt her father's surname, becoming Delphine of Saxe-Coburg. This formal recognition was the first time a Belgian royal court had awarded an illegitimate child a royal title, making it a first-of-its-kind case in the nation's history. The Belgian press closely covered the decision, with Le Soir noting the unprecedented nature of Delphine's new status within the monarchy. Delphine expressed joy, relief, and validation after her decades-long journey following the court decision. In a public statement, she described the ruling as acknowledging identity, justice, and respect. In an interview with The Guardian, Delphine shared how finally gaining her father's surname and title brought a powerful sense of closure and emotional relief. Public reactions in Belgium were mixed, with some embracing Delphine as a strong, determined figure and others questioning the impact on the royal family's reputation. Internationally, her story was also widely reported, with the New York Times and BBC News discussing the possible implications for royal families globally. Looking at the matter closely, the acceptance of Delphine could be the beginning of something phenomenal or dangerous. With the success of the Delphine court case, Many royal illegitimate children could start seeking a relationship with their fathers too. While this is not inherently bad, many palaces and royal families will not only lose their sleep, but it could also cause hatred and strife between royal couples and their legitimate children. This was the exact thing King Albert was trying to avoid all those years. As for Delphine, even though the emotional weight she carried for years was lifted, her victory was not hers alone. The victory is also for her children and future generations, who will now be free from the secrecy and denial that defined much of her life. Delphine's life today as a princess. While she has been recognized as a princess, there is a limit to the perks she can enjoy. For example, because she was born out of wedlock, Princess Delphine and her children are not eligible for succession to the Belgian throne. Although she was awarded €3,400,000 in court costs after her successful paternity claim, she did not receive a royal allowance or endowment. Also, since being officially recognized as Princess Delphine of Belgium, Delphine has taken on a special and inspiring role in both the art world and public life. Her journey to royal acknowledgement allowed her to step into a platform where she could address personal experiences and advocate for social causes close to her heart. Today, Delphine continues to make significant strides in her career as an artist. Her work often displays themes of identity, personal freedom, and strength. She talks about this at every opportunity because it resonates with her story. Delphine once said her artwork is a medium to express her feelings and connect with others. She has shared her journey openly in media interviews, particularly fixating on the emotional process she went through to achieve public recognition. She has mentioned that her art allows her to find healing from her struggles before becoming recognized as a princess. According to Tatler, Delphine's art is bold and unfiltered, an indication of her deeply personal perspective on life. Besides her art, Delphine has also become an advocate for social issues, focusing on mental health, family unity, and acceptance. Her highly publicized journey to recognition has encouraged others facing similar battles. Delphine's work inspires people who have been relegated or those who have fought for acceptance in their own lives. The Brussels Times has also talked about how her position allows her to bring attention to issues that others might not be able to address publicly. In a statement, Delphine shared that she hopes to give voice to those who don't have one, using her platform to inspire and uplift. Delphine has made several public appearances since her official recognition, including joint events with members of the Belgian royal family. These appearances authenticate the shifting perception of her role in the monarchy and her acceptance by the family and the Belgian public. In a special interview with BBC News, she shared how these moments have contributed to her sense of belonging and closure. She describes her status as a new chapter in her life that will enable her to support causes she believes in while staying true to her artistic calling. What do you think about Princess Delphine? Should she have pushed for more official roles in Belgium, or was settling for mere recognition wise enough? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy this video, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.